So, wow. Last couple days, it's been quite interesting because we've had to get to the root of it all, of course. And I keep saying that every single week. This is if you're wondering what this is. Every single week, I'm like, oh, I think I figured it out. Right? And of course, I do. It's just another layer of programming that I'm peeling back, another layer. And every layer that you peel back, you think you figured out until another layer comes up. And so there's a reason why I studied all the language and the words and the similarities of words that are stuck in context, because that's the programming. That's the layers of programming that people get stuck, is in the words, and then the words have specific protocols to them and belief systems around them. And so even saying one word, okay, you will have so many belief systems rear their ugly head. Let's just say the word parasite. When someone hears the word parasite, they'll think of a parasite cleanse. When someone hears the word parasite, they'll think of something like a lice or a worm or a flea or something in the science community. When someone hears the word parasite, I think of people who don't know how to take care of themselves and they're always feeding off of somebody else. Okay? And then someone who understands parasites realizes that they run everything. That parasites run the fucking world. They run your body. They are you. You are a parasite. You are a huge parasite. You are a community of parasites. And you're also immature. Everyone has a conglomeration of immature parasites in their body because you were bred to reproduce. And so when you have a bunch of immature parasites in your body and you're bred to reproduce, then what happens is you don't mature. Because when you're bred to reproduce children, you as an adult were never taught to mature yourself as a human full of parasites. And so when we realize that the hydra, yes, they are parasitic. They are the viruses. They are the phages. They are the cancers, disease, and chronic illnesses. And they're also the humans who are mature enough to understand modern day physics, advanced physics, like Einstein, Copernicus, Galileo, Hawking. Who else? Neil deGrasse. We'll just name all the scientists out there. There's mature enough parasites out there that understand physics and chemistry and biochemistry, and they're immature parasites that end up in jail until they figure out how to redirect their life. And there's all the different points in between. And every parasite can be taught how to practice law, how to practice medicine, how to develop an argument, how to do math, English, social studies, science. Okay? And so your parasites, the hydra, your parasites, hydra, same thing. The hydra run your fucking parasites, run the proteins. They have the ability to be extremely intelligent, and they also have the ability to never fucking grow up. And they also tend to be very consumptive and selfish and greedy, and also some have killer instincts, literally killer instincts, of which the system is trying to breed that out of the population. And so, yeah, so my book has to change drastically. I had to write about so many details and rabbit holes so then my body, mind, and spirit can understand everything at the micro level to then talk about the macro level, the world that you see. Because the unseen world is not easy to understand. The unseen world is like faith. It's like religion. You know, people have an issue. Some people have an issue with religion. Other people don't. Okay? The unseen world is like when you see a light beam, like a sunbeam that's coming through your window, and it's a nice clear day, and you see that beam come through, and then you see all this, looks like dust. See, people say, oh yeah, that's just dust. You got a dirty house. Oh, that's dust. No, that's all hydra. You are in a plasmic universe. Okay, so you can see the unseen world if you know how to look at the light. You can see the unseen world when you look through infrared, type of devices that show you living things, because a hydra cast off a type of glow. When you're looking for people or animals or anything through infrared, you're seeing the vast amount of energy, which is people, which is all the hydra and their proteins and the parasites in the body, and the blood and the plasma and all that. But in the daytime, when it's clear outside and the sun is coming through your window in just the right way, I've seen just so much what someone would call dust particles. But are they really, they're dust, okay, but what are dust made up of? Oh, it's dirt. Okay. I see dirt, like brown stuff on the floor. Dirt is made up of microbes. It's made up of your animal dander microbes. It's made up of outside microbes. It's made up of plant material. It's made up of composted organic material. That's what dirt is. It's basically your environment. It is the hydra. It is everything. It's the Rid-X. The dirt is Rid-X's desiccated hydra that are made to go and eat certain organic material. And so when it's all dried up, it's not activated. You add water to it, guess what Rid-X does? It activates. You're like, what is Rid-X? When you have a sewer system, a septic tank that is overflowing, all right, and then you pour some Rid-X down your toilet, so you can have those little bacteria go and eat all the organic material that's inside your septic tank. Okay? And so the unseen world is not really unseen. You just have to know what you're looking at. But what happens is that the medical system and science and all of academia, they use words to shield you from the other dimensions that you are not aware of. But you are living in it. You are a product of the dimensions. Maybe you're living in 2 dimensions. Maybe you're living in 3 dimensions, 4 dimensions, 5 dimensions, 6 dimensions. There's so many different dimensions. But the seen world is what people react to the most. And then that's how they get programmed into a belief system. And then the unseen world turns into a religion. It turns into worshiping a person, place, or thing, or it turns into demonizing a person, place, or thing. And so, yesterday, my husband was home and it was really, really aggressively energetic. My dog, she's doing okay. She was breathing hard last night in the middle of the night, and I was petting her going, okay, it's okay, sugar, it's okay, sugar, it's okay, sugar. Thinking that she might have a seizure. No seizure. She pooped at 8 o'clock last night, and even though I didn't know she had to go to the bathroom outside because she was out there, and so when she came in, I'm like, okay. But no, she came downstairs again, and she pooped and she peed, but she peed on the mat and pooped near the mat, which is where all her pee pads are. I'm fine with that, okay? But she would breathe really hard last night. And I was blowing my nose. Like, oh my God. It was like endless. It was crazy. And I heard my husband breathing too, so I know he was okay. But yeah, she breathed really hard and she, was walking around in circles. So she felt the heat. I feel the heat right now too. My heat just kicked on. I better turn it down. And then she finally laid down and just chilled out. She finally laid down and chilled out and went to sleep. Though I did take her out at 3 o'clock in the morning. Oh, there's a garbage bin. And so then this morning, I went and released a bunch of demons, and I really had to dig deep. I had to really blow my nose. And I'll tell you, there was stuff that came out from a couple days ago because I had some kind of corn or something like a southwestern chicken salad. That was a couple days ago, and the corn was coming out. I'm like, what the hell? Okay, so my body does hold on to stuff for a few days. But it was quite interesting that last night, I think for my dog, that's okay. Last night, the heat was so intense and the coughing I wasn't really coughing, but I was blowing my nose so hard, my nose was all stuffy that I was blowing my nose so much, and it was telling me that there was so much in my system that needed to come out. And so this is why it's so important to read or to watch my videos for those of you who just came on, because you're going to get clues on how to get your system cleaned out without you using anything homeopathic or allopathic. Okay? And so yeah, I was probably impatient, but I needed to be, because I'll tell you, right now people are suffering. They're suffering so much that anything that seems like something that would give them relief, they think that they would get what I get just from doing the J juice for a minute or whatever. They would have my kind of peace and tranquility, which is right now, which is I am feeling peaceful and tranquil. But I'm telling you, I went through a lot of suffering. And so the whole JJ world, if you just started it, you will be going through a lot of suffering. And I'm going to tell you, it is not for the faint of heart. And so the reason why you're going to go through a lot of suffering is because you have to finally release those little babies, those immature babies, the ones that cause your menstruation. And when you have a lot of immature hydra in the body, they're going to cause menstruation, which means they're going to cause reproduction. They're going to cause, of course, sexual orientation. When you have immature hydra in the body, they're going to cause you to be up a lot in the middle of the night. And that's what happens when people who are young. When I was 20 years old, I was up all night, and I can go to work all day. I'd be up partying all night, drinking, and whatever, and I would then go to work. I'd be dancing all night. That's what immature hydra do. They're up all night. And so when someone finally matures, they're not needing to be up all night. They get their rest. They have a balance. They have circadian rhythms, a balance of eating, sleeping, releasing, taking care of business, not always consuming everything. I haven't had coffee this morning. My coffee is making right now. And so I realized that maybe menstruation is the trigger of the body because it senses senescence. Senescence is happening. Menstruation is triggered. Eggs are dropping. That's why the octopus releases 200,000 eggs while it's going through its senescence, because that's how then the hydra in the body, as well as the octopus, carry on that genetic line. And so what is senescence? It's a biological aging. It is a gradual deterioration of the functional characteristics of a living organism. Okay? And so when your body, which is basically all the parasites, when they mature, let me write this. When they mature. Okay, when your body, which basically all the parasites, when they mature, there is no more senescence. And in my opinion, ovulation and population will stop. Okay? And I already said this before. I couldn't prove it. But yeah, that's the thing, is that right now I'm dealing with a lot of immature people out there in the world, and I'm not knocking anyone. It's just, let me tell you, when you finally face the demons, you're going to mature, and you're going to realize you're not going to need people and things half as much as you used to when you were young or immature. But like, how can I be young and immature if I'm aging? Yeah, because you're deteriorating. You're not mature because you're aging. You can have a lot of immature hydra in your body running the fuck out of you, the parasites running the fuck out of you. And you could be aging out. And that's basically deterioration. Oh my gosh, that's pretty true. And so how do you mature? Is when you stay young, your body stays young, and when your body stays young and youthful. Okay? And you finally see a change in how you react to things. You see a change in how you establish boundaries. You see a change in your eating habits. You see a change in your releasing habits. Let me tell you, when I released this morning, it was painful a little bit. It was like giving birth to a fucking Mr. Hanky Poop baby. Okay? And that's, if you're not going to have children, right? When you think about it, when you're not going to have children, when the body isn't sensing senescence, then every day or every couple days, you're going to have to release a really good poop baby. Right now, some of you have so many poop babies in your body that you are pregnant with immature hydra / parasites. Hydra run everything, again. And so that's why men have the dad bods. That's why women may be a little bit obese or a lot obese. That's also why women age exponentially, because they're deteriorating, because they hold so many babies, so many children inside of their body. Even if they don't have a child, literally, their children are all grown up, they have immature parasites in their body that are eating them from the inside. They're being cannibalized by the immature hydra. And that's why now I have to rewrite my book, because I don't want you to get lost down the rabbit holes of the words. Okay? This is gonna, I'm gonna do everything I can to slip in a few scientific words, so those in the science world, those in specific contexts, can understand where I'm coming from. But yeah, the aging process is the deterioration because of all the immature hydra parasites that are in your body eating you out from the inside. And so here's the thing, since I deal with so many different people, and I want to establish boundaries, because I'm telling you, the children out there will cannibalize you. And that means those that come upon my information, they like it, some aspect of them like it, and they want to collaborate with me. They want to go and be back and forth, back and forth, back and forth. And I'm not saying not to do that. There's certain things, some of you know where I'm at. John, you know where I'm at. Audrey, you know where I'm at. Pip knows where I'm at. Even Krista. There's a few people that understand where I'm at, where they understand the boundaries. There's a way where you can share information and impart information that isn't like, oh, I just discovered you. And tell me, Jillian, from square one, what do I do? What does this mean? How do you deal with parasites? What do you do with this? But Jillian, people are just learning. Yeah, they are. But do I have time to literally go and teach and hold everyone's hand when I put out videos? That's the thing. That's where I want you guys to understand, is that if you're not up to speed of where I'm at and where a lot of people are at on my Facebook, then you have to sit back and watch the videos, read the information, read the pin post, and it's going to be really foreign. And so I can't save every child out there. I really can't. I can't. Let me tell you, children out there, when you think about adults with immature hydra running their system, they are a dime a dozen. They're everywhere. And so what do? How do I vet out those who I know can do this? When I don't have to really interact with them so much, where there's a mature interaction. It's not a buddy type of thing, but it's a mature where and that's the thing. It's like, how can you be so discriminatory? Because everyone reacts in so many different ways. Oh, let me tell you. If you've been on my Facebook for a while, and I'll tell you, those who keep tuning in every day, like Audrey does, John does, Pip, other people, when you're tuning in every fucking day, watching my information, I will give you my time of day because you are following me and you know where I'm coming from. I don't have to take you from square one all the way to square fucking Z or a million infinity. And that's the thing, is you have to earn the exchange of energies. And I'm not going to say it's equal, because there's no such thing as equality. Equality is dead. And so that's the thing, is you have to earn the energy you get from me. I'll give it to you for free as a whatever for a minute, just to kind of get you up to speed. But then at some point, you're going to have to earn your place in this world. And we all do. I do too. Okay? But I'll tell you, children, when they don't earn their place in the world, they think they're entitled to have someone's attention 24/7. They think they're entitled to have all this food 24/7. And yeah, of course, they are entitled to do that. But children are entitled to a lot of attention. And I'm not into raising children right now. Right now, I'm trying to get those who are relatively mature enough to understand this. Because could I impart this information to a baby? No. This information would have to be someone who is 18 years or older if they're going to do it on their own. And if they're not 18 years or older, then their guardian or their parent would have to figure out. So as long as their doctor is on board, and if they don't have a doctor, then the parent has to be the one to be responsible and hope they don't end up on the fucking news one day. Okay? And so, yeah, so I'm trying to get the mature people who are relatively independent. And if you're not relatively independent and you need someone to be answering your questions, like the way I ask my husband questions 24/7, then you're not made for my world, because I can't. Again, even if I did one by one, nah. At this point, the train has left the station. The agenda has been realized. They already knew that people would not be able to handle that everything in their body is parasitic. They knew this. But when you watch the old movies from watch the movies about Egyptian antiquity, like the mummy, and they're showing you when the mummy, the highfalutin mummy, like Imhotep or whoever it is that they've themed in that movie, when they see that mummy, or even Dracula, turn into a bunch of bats, turn into a bunch of birds, turn into a bunch of cockroaches, they're trying to tell you that you're not who you think you are. That you are full of parasites. They're on your skin. They're microscopic. That's why when you itch, That's why you itch, right? Because there's something moving. Why do you itch? Why do you scratch? Because there's something moving on your skin, under your skin. I've seen even little tiny, little white worms dive in and out of my fucking skin a couple years ago when I was doing the J-juice, because I was rustling up the nest. The whole point of the JJ world is to rustle up the nest and then release the fucking little babies out of your body. And that also means giving birth every fucking morning to some kind of crazy ass poop baby that you have pulled out yourself. Because it will take that too. Let me tell you, if I could have at some point, see my shower it goes into cold water at some point after like maybe a half hour, maybe 15 minutes. I'm taking cold showers at the end of my shower. When I was scratching my head, more poop came out. That's how much there is in your system that you don't even realize. And so when I'm breathing and coughing and blowing my nose and whatever, more poop comes out. And then I'm like, oh, my head itches. My head was itching last night. I was itching last night. I was sweating because it was fucking hot. There was so much activity in my body, so much replication. And so last night I was sweating. I was up and down with my dog. I was hot. And then I was blowing my nose, and I was itching my head. And so when I was in the shower, I was itching so hard. I was like, I don't have any dandruff. See, no dandruff. But I was itching. And then from that itching, it stimulated whatever to then release more poop. And I'm like, oh, Jesus. And so you got to realize that when your body is finally on point, you mean to get your bowels moving, you will find ways like getting into weird fucking positions to give birth to all these little things that are going to torture you if you don't get them out. And sometimes you have to scratch your head. Sometimes you have to do what you have to do to go, because there was like 3 or 4 different rounds of poop coming out. And some were like, goopy and whatever, and others was like in a form of my intestines, like Mr. Hanky, and others was like, like, ew, it looked like fucking hydra coming out of my body, like colonies, little squigglies. I'm like, what the hell is that? It's hydra that's coming out. See, that's what you gotta realize. So you can't attack your body with anything anti-parasitic. Nothing homeopathic. Yeah, you have to feed it. This chick asked me, which I took off my Facebook because I couldn't deal with the amount of questions, the amount of whatever. And you think, oh, no, whatever. But anyways, yeah, you feed the fucking parasites and you release them in the proper, respectful way. And that's the thing, is respect. respecting the parasites in your body, respecting yourself, respecting others, of course, drawing boundaries. Because I released 2 people this week because one was really boisterous and wanting the interaction and needing my interaction. The other person was very empathic. Just as like, well, I don't think we should believe in, I don't think, I think people die someday. She's like, everybody dies. I'm like, what? She's like, yeah, everybody dies. Everyone should die. She was already buying into the death process. That's why I had to release her. So I said, okay, some of your family members may not get this. I'm sorry. I'm not trying to cause a situation between you and your family members. But if you're already saying, if somebody in your family is already buying into the death process, if they don't see indefinite life as a thing, if they don't understand that equal exchange of energies means that it's equilibrium, it means it's death, and that there is no such thing as equality in any society. There is no such thing as equality. None. Because energy fluctuates. It's never always even. That's flat line. And so there's no such thing as equal exchange of energies. And so then you have to realize, how much can you willing to tolerate? What is fair? Because that's really what people are looking for, is they're looking for fairness. What are you willing to tolerate? Even though I paid a little bit more than what I would have paid over here, I'm okay with that because I can tolerate a few more dollars over here. And I like the seller. Okay? And so if I really wanted to get a good deal, I can go and get a couple dollars off somewhere else and then deal with some shitty seller. And so there's nothing equal in this world. So asking for equality, asking for the Equal Rights Amendment, oh, but men and women should get paid the same. Well, at this point, I don't know, potentially, I guess, but what does that really mean? What does the same mean? Well, if they go for the CEO, well, you gotta look at a person's, how do you determine someone's worth? That's the thing. Determining someone's worth is so subjective, because you got to think about, when a woman, when she goes into and works for a company, and then maybe she's of childbearing age, it is paying her $1 million a year, where she might be getting pregnant in the next, But can you ask someone, well, do you plan to get pregnant this year? And so so that's why some men get paid more, because they know that men are, and a lot of men out there are not going to take time off to be sick with PMS or PMDD. They're not going to take time to have a child. They're not going to take time to be sick for their child. And so men get paid more because of that. Is it right or wrong? Fuck, who cares? At this point, what's a few dollars? If you can't live on $100,000 a year, what makes you think you can live off of $200,000 a year? You have to live within your means. Well, I don't understand why he get. Maybe getting paid more will be your own destruction. When you give somebody so much money, they'll go and destroy themselves with so much shit that they don't need. And so maybe getting paid less wasn't a bad thing, because it made you then learn how to stretch a dollar and not go overboard with all this stuff. So, I know I'm kind of rambling. My coffee, I need some coffee. So anyway, the whole thing with being paid equally or getting things equally doesn't exist. It will never exist, because it's all subjective, and who determines somebody's worth and value. And so I don't even go down this political, just rhetorical, circular reasoning. I just don't. And so, so there's a lot of empaths out there that when I post stuff, they feel it, they take it upon themselves to try to soothe me into whatever. They're trying to make everything that I'm saying okay. I don't know. It's like there's a certain kind of persona when someone is trying to use their energy healing type of characteristics to justify their position. Anyone that wants to get a hold of me, here's the thing. Anyone that wants to get a hold of me personally, what do you, for what reason? What reason? I'm not your doctor. I'm not your lawyer. I'm not your teacher. I'm not anything but a person imparting information that you take or leave. If you can't listen, if your friends and family are in the JJ world and they're posting stuff on their wall, and you don't want to take that information from you or whatever, they don't take their information from you, they have to go straight to me. Okay, I understand going from the horse's mouth. So watch my videos. Watch, go to my Facebook wall. You don't need to really interact with me so much. But your friends have something viable to say. Because here's the thing. I get going to the horse's mouth, which is a good thing. Because you don't want to take somebody else's opinion of how to do something. And for gospel, you want to get it from the horse's mouth. But on the other hand, at some point, somebody out there who understands the JJ world has to be able to take this information and impart it and have their friends and family be like, okay, that's great. Awesome. And so they listen to me for a second and they're like, okay, well, I don't really need to be, going to Jillian all the time for anything. That, if your friend or your family member is doing this and they're avidly interacting with me, then they're obviously doing it the correct way because they're interacting with me and they want to stay alive. They want to do it correctly, whatever way I'm doing it. They're not taking pills, powder supplements, and detoxes. Then there's no reason for you to go directly to me because I'm just going to tell you the same fucking shit. Read my videos, watch my videos. Read my parasite. Read my Facebook account. And so this is the world that we live in. We're run by parasites. And they're in the clouds, they're in the water, they're in everything. They're in your coffee, they're in your tea, they're everywhere. They're in your environment. And they are immature. And so, my whole book has to fucking change. Because the rabbit holes of science is going to confuse the fuck out of people. And I do not want to confuse anyone. I'm going to link the words. When I talk about a virus, I'm going to have /parasite. Actually, what I'm going to say is hydra run everything. Hydra are the viruses. They're the phages. They're the macrophages, the microphages. They are the intelligence. They are the disease. They are the life. They are the death. You're like, what the fuck? Yeah, hydra are everything. And so I'm going to have to really you're going to see a lot of slashes. When there's a lot of slashes with other words next to another word, you're going to see that that's how all the worlds are going to connect. Because I can't let you guys go down a rabbit hole. Because once I say parasite, automatically people are going to go to their anti-parasitics. Parasites are your immune system. Your immune system runs everything. And yes, the T cells and the B cells and the regulators are the hydra. They are the parasites. They are fucking intelligent. The voices in your head, the dreams, when you're waking up, talking to yourself, when you're waking up thinking about something, that's the hydra. All the religion, everything, it's the hydra. Your desire to have children is the fact that you're immature and you have hydra that just want to go and fornicate and then also deteriorate, and so then you are dropping children. So that's the thing and I knew it. I haven't had my period since I don't remember when. I don't remember if it was August or September. What are we in the end of October? I haven't had my period in probably like a month or two. And so menstruation is senescence. And so when something is bleeding, that's deterioration. When you see someone bleeding on the street, right? You're like, oh, I gotta stop that bleeding. Holy shit. Right? Yeah, that's like an injury. Bleeding is an injury. It's you have an open wound. When you're bleeding, you have an open wound. But why do women bleed? Because they're releasing an egg that was unfertilized. It's an unfertilized egg. It's the lining of your uterus releasing because it's not needed. Because if it would stay in the body, you would self-implode. But it's injury inside when you think about it. Because you have all these little things inside of you that's destroying you, causing you to ovulate, causing you to menstruate. You're not maturing. You're not staying youthful. You're aging. You're deteriorating. And then menopause is when you think about it. Why do women have menopause earlier and earlier or whatever? Well, they did have a period, because menopause means that you had a period at some point and then it stopped. Why did it stop? Well, there's a million reasons why, because science can play with people's hormones all over the place. So just because you're menopausal doesn't mean you're going to live indefinitely. No, not necessarily. If you're aging and you're menopausal, it means that that part of your body is shut down, and then the next thing is you at some point. And so even menstruation and ovulation is still a choice, still a chance to, carry on the genetic line, as well as redirect, where you don't have to be dropping children. You can drop your own proteins and lengthen your telomeres and stay alive and stop aging out. And so the system programmed us to breed. Then they purposely made sure that there was a lot of antigen antibody programming in the body to cause so much destruction and energy, as well as little immature hydra, B cells and T cells and whatever, and then also drop children. And so, and so when humans finally mature, not age mature, they will not want to procreate. That won't be part of their forte. There won't be any sexual orientation. Diversity is when you have so many different sexual orientations, because that's the diversity that's dropping so many different species of people and different phenotypical characteristics, different strengths. That's all the Marvel comics. That's all the Star Trek, Star Wars, Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles. That's everything. They want to see, the system wants to see a lot of diversity. They want to see how science can really be amazing, that when you're talking to a life-size praying mantis who won't eat you, but will be like, hey, Jillian, how you doing? And you're not scared shitless, right? When you're talking to an ant that is life-size, human man-size, you're like, whoa, that's a nice-looking ant, nice-looking antennas you have there, Mr. Ant. That's what the system is trying to kind of do, but they don't want them to be killers, because we don't want to have that. And so science and all of that can be taken to such a level, such a different level. And we haven't even begun to scratch the surface, because we're so homogenized as a human race. But can a human race evolve into something even more extraordinary? That's what science is trying to embark upon. Do you like it? Do you hate it? At this point, it doesn't matter if you like it or hate it. It's happening. Me not ovulating and not having a period, is that a good thing or a bad thing? As long as I keep, making sure that I'm okay. If let's say I have an injury to me, let's say somehow, the house fell on me and I injured myself, I would start ovulating. I would start having a period. As soon as something happens, like a blunt force trauma, or I stopped releasing my poop demons and I let them metastasize. And then I get some kind of like, disease or whatever. Menstruation is the first sign something is off in the body. That's when you know something is going on inside the body, is when you have menstruation. That's when I know something's off, is when I start bleeding. What? People are like, oh my God, how can you say this, Jillian? I said this a couple years ago, but people did not, I don't know. Well, they're like, well, how do you carry on the human race if you aren't having children? Well, if people stop destroying themselves and injuring themselves and playing with the hydra, playing with the antigen antibody programming, which is what's going on in biotech, they're merging species together, and that's what's causing you all to have sex with each other. Because it's the species of the microbial species. That's the antigen antibody program. That's the type A and type B and type O. ABO is the antigen antibody programming. It's the different microbial species that are having sex with each other, developing all of your phenotypical characteristics. And so now we have 7.98 billion people. Maybe it will be rising to 12.9 billion at some point. That's a lot of a petri dish to work with. And even going down to 500 million is still a large population. Okay? And there's plenty of variation even in 500 million all over the world. But the powers that be will figure out how to homogenize each of the different pods of people of 500 million all over the world. And it will be a very controlled society because it needs to be. You know how easy it is for someone to go and play with drugs and cause a mutation in the population and then cause people to be, dropping kids? But that's the thing, when you have a very strong population who is not ovulating or randy or super sexual, why would a person go to drugs? Because they can, and when they do drugs, they're gonna then cause the body to sense senescence, and then cause them to want to produce sperm. And then they go and someone does something horrible, like goes and takes over another person and penetrates them against their will. And then, will that person have a baby? Well, that's the thing, If a person who stops ovulating gets penetrated by someone who has a seed, well, through that terror and through that kind of energetic interaction, it could cause a senescence, a deterioration. And it could cause them to drop an egg and potentially, get pregnant through that situation. I could see how that could happen. And so the system is going to have to really, really have major control over the population way down the road when we get down to 500 million. Okay? Because we don't want to have someone who's like, oh, I'm going to go and do a bunch of drugs and then want to go and procreate and then go and take over another person. And it could be even, a person through a different entrance, like through the ANAL. And then there's that, and you can develop a new viral baby, right? A new hydra baby that then will cause an uptick of an evolution in that society. And so that type of thing, when there is an actual penetration between two humans, that will cause a major evolution. A major one. And so can you have, let's say, 10 people who are not sexual, who are not ovulating, who are not producing, who don't have blue balls or whatever? Can they all hang out together and exchange, or be in a homogenized environment under the same frequency, breathe the same air, release spores and inhale them and not go through a mutation? Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. It's when someone does something aggressive, like drugs, like I would say alcohol too, like alchemy. When you're bringing alchemy in it, then yeah, you are creating fertility. And that's the Rosicrucian, that's the pagan religion. That's all religions, is all about fertility and senescence and deterioration. And so there's got to be a part of society that's mature enough that sees this is a choice to be. And if you want to stay a child and stay immature, then yeah, go do all your different remedies and surgeries and stuff. But then on the other side of that, there is cancer, disease, and chronic illness. But in a higher frequency environment, it's a died suddenly situation. Wow. So, JJ Crowd, you have a humongous road ahead of you. Humongous. And that's why I kind of figured this is not going to be for a lot of people. It'll be for some. But yeah, the desire to fit in, especially when you're stressed out with children and with bills and all of that. Yeah. This will be difficult to embark. Not impossible, but it'll be difficult to stay with. Because the specific measurable result is, yes, a woman doesn't get her period. The specific measurable result for a man is, yeah, he doesn't want to have sex. The specific measurable result is that you're not aging, you're not degrading, you're not emotional. Yeah. But you're intellectual. Then you're also pulling out the programming. You're pulling out the poop every other day or relative to the environment. When the environment is really aggressive and I'm eating a lot more because the environment's aggressive, that's a lot more stuff I'm pulling out of my body. And some days it's worse than others because the environment is more aggressive. The frequencies are insane. When the rains come, yeah, that was a lot of intense heat. And now I understand why. Now I'm coming back. I'm looking back when it was every spring I would get sick. Every fall I would get sick. Of course, because that's the new hydra coming in and causing little babies, little hydra babies in the body. The body has to release. And so now with every rainstorm that comes in, with the high heat, the cold, because it's going to get hot again. Right now it's cold. It's like 44 degrees. And then it's cloudy, so it's all that hydra right over our body, or right over our town. And then the temperatures are going to rise again and then electrify the environment again, heat it up, cause replication. People are going to be dropping like flies. And then the rains are going to come again, and then people are going to get sick again, and they're going to... And then right now I'm looking at my Facebook, and people are like, someone was saying that some lady died in a bathroom in Cleveland or something, or somewhere. And the restaurant still stayed open, still served food with the dead body, in the restaurant. And that's kind of how it's going to be, the show must go on. When you have so much death in society where people are dropping like flies all around you in different places, they can't afford to keep closing down a place every single time a person passes away. They can't. People are like, oh, that's disrespectful. Not anymore, because when you have people dropping like flies, like right now in Canada, people are dropping like flies in Canada. I was waiting for my Canadian people to be reacting to stuff that's going on. I wasn't hearing shit. And then within the last couple days, last couple weeks, I've been seeing the Canadians in these Dad Suddenly groups deal with stuff. And even in my group, there's like a Canadian in my group who's finally feeling some stuff. Oh, and it's right along the lines with other people who are feeling or seeing their friends and family die suddenly in Canada. Okay? Not a coincidence. And so, yeah, we're going to be seeing so much of this. And I'm biting on my skin right now, because it's pretty crazy. All right, so all I could say right now is that I don't know. But I have to position this correctly, that parasites run your whole immune system. And they are to be respected and matured. But they are out of control and they're immature in your body. And this is why you want to have sex and have children. You know, and so, yeah, I mean, I'm kind of like with broken thoughts. But this is the thing, is that, yeah, the parasites need to mature. You need to mature as a human, and you need to get control of your children in your body. Because you always need some children in your body, as far as the baby hydra, so you can train them to carry on the genetic line. What's your genetic line? Your finger. Okay? Because when you're typing and doing stuff, you're using energy. You're doing wear and tear. Then your body must be able to repair any damage that you're doing when you're typing or walking or whatever, running. Okay? And so you need to train the children in your body to keep you going. But the system has programmed you to breed and to deteriorate and then have another generation of children to be programmed and exploited until you stop the madness. Okay? And so this is where politics, religion, and science comes from. And so I have to rewrite this book. I really do. Which is fine. I have all the words for it now. I just got to put it in the proper way. But yeah, I mean, that's why it's taken me such a long time to do this. I mean, I'll figure it away. I'm not rewriting, but I'll figure it out. But I don't want to go down rabbit holes. I really don't. And so I'm going to have to rewrite some of this stuff and get more to the point. All right, I'm going to go and do my thing here. But, yeah. What am I feeling right now? I kind of feel just really, I feel bad for a lot of people. I really do. Because I know what's going to come. I know what's coming. If it isn't already here. And there's no way for me to help everybody. I do the best I can, just doing it on the Facebook Lives and whatever. But there's no way for me to get through to everybody. But even the ones that come through and beg for your attention and yeah, but you don't know what you're dealing with. You don't know what you're dealing with. Again, when someone's stuck in the homeopathic world and they want to stop the madness, they want to stop the energy, they won't be able to handle facing their demons. When someone's already out of the gate wanting to stop the pain, wanting to stop the energy, wanting to use homeopathic, allopathic, holistic, even the Jages, when they want to stop the energy, there is no fucking way they're going to be able to handle my information. And so no matter how much someone says they really want to understand me, believe me, they don't. Because the first step is realizing that you can't stop the energy. You have to let it express and you have to release it. You can't stop it. And I can't say that to somebody. I can't. I mean, I've said it. I've said it so many times. You can't attack it with anything. You can't attack any of these parasites with anything. You can't attack anything in your body. You cannot. And the fact that you don't feel anything is also setting yourself up for a died suddenly situation. So not feeling something is like, holy shit, will it be tomorrow? Will it be on the 11th? Will it be December 21st? When the frequencies get raised and the people that don't feel anything, they die suddenly. That's also where I'm just like, fuck. And so no matter what, those that don't want to feel anything, who right now are feeling stuff and they're taking their homeopathic remedies or even the J juice, are fucked. And then those who don't feel anything right now, who are basically cured, what kind of frequency will it take for them to die suddenly? So that's kind of the world that I live in. And so who are the ones that are really going to fucking get it? The ones that feel stuff and that welcome feeling stuff. That they're like, yay, I felt, it sucked and I feel like shit and I'm home and I'm not going out hanging anymore because I don't really have the strength to go out and I'm feeling like there's shit in my system and whatever and I'm pulling it out and this sucks, but I know I'm alive and I have a way to get through this, that I will not be the ones to die suddenly or be the one to die suddenly. Because ultimately, when you are taking your homeopathic remedies or even the J juice in reaction to, or if you're not feeling anything at all, you'll be one of those that will die fucking suddenly. And so I felt the pain this morning of pulling out that poop, of feeling, of when I'm pushing it out, like pushing out a fucking baby, I'm just like, oh my God, I feel the pain of releasing, of your bowels moving. Because I'm purposely making sure that I'm pulling it out, because traditional pooping and even the squatty potty is not enough. Even the bidet is not enough. Because I had 4 or 5 chambers of poop coming out that if I would have stopped at the first chamber, I would have had that shit metastasized and I would have felt bloated. And then I would have to then pull out those, if I drank a bunch of coffee, that might have come out later on. I've pooped twice in one day. Okay? And that's what it's going to fucking take. So that's the pain that I feel. But I don't have, that's the thing, is that I've earned my pain-free. That wasn't really pain-free, but I've earned my non-chronic pain type of situation. I've earned whatever it is I'm feeling right now. I've earned it. But the only way people who are gonna survive this is when they're like, yeah, I see where you're coming from, Jillian. I feel it. I'm not trying to stop the energy. I'm pulling out the poop too. I am, I now get it. Even I'm pulling out clumps of hair. I am pulling out, every time I take a shower, which has been really often lately now, I'm pulling out just clumps of hair. A lot of hair. Am I growing it just as fast? I couldn't tell you. But see right now, here's a bunch of hair I'm pulling out right now. Bunch of hair. Okay? I don't have any cancer disease or chronic illness. I'm not doing oncology or radiation. But look, I can pull out hair right now. Look at that. I don't know if you can see it. But I'm getting like 10 times as much that I'm pulling out in this high frequency environment. I'll survive it because I'm eating, releasing the demons. So I'm having big balls of these types of things every single time I take a shower. That's why I said, if I grow bald during all this process, because I'm in a high frequency environment, that's fine. I'll be bald. I don't care. I'll be bald. Because we are going through an evolution. And you have to feel it. You cannot be cured in this environment. If you are cured in this environment, you are setting yourself up for a died suddenly situation. You cannot be cured. You have to eat all food, meat, milk, cheese, eggs, fruits, and vegetables, everything. A lot of milk, a lot of cream. And you have to cough, sneeze, blow your nose, pull the poop out. You have to not take any, you have to realize that everything is, you are a parasite. Your whole body is full of parasites and they're supposed to be there and they have to mature. Why you feel cancer disease, chronic illness, autoimmune disorders, and all the craziness and the diseases is because you have immature parasites in your body that you never, ever allowed to mature because you kept taking all of your remedies and therapies. And so that's why menstruation happens, because senescence is setting in. You're dropping eggs, just like that octopus who dropped 200,000 eggs before she died. Humans are the same way. You're dropping eggs because you are dying. When you stop dropping eggs, you stop menstruating, not in menopause. You stop menstruating and you stop aging and you stop trying to take all your remedies. But if you are aging and you are and you haven't felt all your predisposed issues, then you are laying the groundwork for a died suddenly situation. So again, menopause in our society doesn't mean that you're healthy. It means your body is shutting down. Getting your period back means that you have now a chance to redirect, to carry on the genetic line. But then when your period stops again, because you are now youthful, you've dealt with all your predisposed issues, your body senses it's not deteriorating. It's not going to want to go and drop an egg. So there's two reasons why you would not have your period. Because you're either shutting down and dying, or your body is the best copy and it doesn't sense that it's going to die anytime soon, and it doesn't need to drop an egg. That is how I need to pose that. And so again, menopause, if you haven't faced your demons, is not a good thing. When you finally get your period and you feel all that, that's then your body going through the processes, because there's still conflict in the body. Then when you finally deal with your conflict without taking any kind of remedies, and you sit with everything and you feed everything, and you go through the process like I went through this last year, the co-infections, every type of whatever situation. I haven't had my period ever since freaking August or September. I don't even think September, maybe, I don't remember. Okay. Then, and if your period is intermittent, and then it's hardly at all, and you feel completely different. But I would say I'm the only one. I would say I'm the only one that should be feeling this way. Because I've been at home for the last 2 fucking years. I have dealt with every single predisposed issue. I don't go out there and hang out with people. I have gone through so much of the releasing of the demons the last 6 years. You saw me go through half that shit the first 3 years of the JJ world. Then I dealt with the other half the last 3 years, ever since COVID came around. I can assure you, all of you on my Facebook haven't even begun to scratch the surface. Some of you have on some level, but you have a long way to go. And so that's why I don't hold out a lot of hope for a lot of people in my JJ world, because they're not willing to sit down and fucking realize what's going on. They still want their social capital. They still have their jobs, which I get. But now it's time to change your jobs. Maybe it's time to change your jobs, because let me tell you, take on someone who has blood clots and you're massaging them and you release a blood clot and they freaking die. Is that on your conscience? Well, it's not my fault they had a blood clot. Well, you're in the therapies world. When someone is that sickly and they're getting a massage because they feel like shit, and then you released a freaking blood clot, that's part of the depopulation agenda, is the medical holistic system, just so you know. It's time to face your own shit, you guys. It really is. It's time to face your own stuff. So anyways, yeah. Yep. All right, I'm going to go and figure out how to write this, but yeah, your whole body is parasitic, and don't ever attack yourself, or you will destroy yourself. And then you're supposed to release the demons. If not, you'll have so many babies that when they get energized and activated by a frequency and they clog up your arteries and capillaries and everything else, and you're died suddenly, well, you were told you should have just stayed home and released those demons and fed your body and pulled the poop out, because we're in a very, very high frequency environment. And right now, a lot of you don't have what it takes to deal with a higher energy. That is going to happen at some point. So, remember, people are dropping like flies around you. You could be next. Start laying the groundwork to release those demons and feed your body. And don't attack it with any of the remedies out there. All right, bye.